What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, I'm going to showcase one of the premier dragon types in the current Great League meta, Regidrago. I know there's a lot of dragon type options to use, but I think what really sets Regidrago apart is that you have spammy access to a very hard-hitting move, Dragon Energy. And not only that, but in this new season, with Dragon Breath generating so much energy here, you can actually run Hyper Beam as a coverage move for the Fairy-type Pokemon, as well as a very heavy-hitting closing attack if you need it later on in the game. I'm also going to pair it up here with a Corviknight, one of the best steel types right now in the meta. Sand Attack, Air Cutter, and Payback is a moveset. And Shadow Caesar, one of my favorites from the last season, using Bullet Punch, Trailblaze, and Night Slash. This team was a lot of fun, so let's get into the battles and see what it can do. Let's get into the first game of the day. We see Regidrago up against Corviknight. Alright, so this matchup on paper, you'd expect to be pretty bad for Regidrago, but we also have a Shadow Caesar in the backline that does want to avoid this as well. But here's the thing, Regidrago, as you can see here, doing quite a bit of fast attack pressure with Dragon Breath and Dragon Energy, while it is going to be resisted as well, is a very efficient attack. They're putting them down to about half HP. In comes a Payback, and while this will do a lot of damage to us as well, Corviknight is not well known for its fast attack pressure. They're going to have to throw an Air Cutter if they want to knock us out. We go for a potential CMP on this attack. This Dragon Energy, it won't knock them out, but it will put them pretty low. Our opponent will no shield. They go for the Air Cutter right on CMP here. They're so low on this HP on their Corviknight, so now Shadow Caesar or Corviknight, either way, will not worry about this Pokemon whatsoever. Air Cutter will boost their attack stat, which is, a little bit awkward here. It's going to guarantee that Corviknight is going to be the Pokemon I want to bring in. That way I can Sand Attack down, no shield the Air Cutter guaranteed, and go for a Payback or maybe Air Cutters against whatever they bring in here in the backline. Our opponent will go for that Air Cutter, doesn't do that much damage despite the boost, and we're going to go for a Payback against this Clodsire that we are going to see getting brought in. So at this point, I feel like if they're bringing a Clodsire in here, maybe my Corviknight is better in the backline. I'm going to swap to Shadow Caesar just in case we want to use an Energy Lead here on this Pokemon. And it looks like Energy Lead Shadow Caesar is going to pay off. A Whiscash comes in. We go for a Night Slash bait. I would love to see a shield right now. Our opponent does shield that attack up. And now at this point, I think I can go for a Trailblaze on the next move. And then Night Slash on the third move should knock him out. I'm going to go for the shield myself on this Mud Bomb. That would basically knock us out here. Shadow Caesar, not well known for its bulk, but Trailblaze is going to be thrown on CMP. This attack would easily one-shot the Water and Ground type. Do they respect it? They do double shield their Whiscash, which means Shadow Caesar is going to follow suit. It's going to shield itself and go for a Night Slash as soon as we can. Mud Bomb does get our second shield here, but these Bullet Punches, despite being resisted, are doing incredible damage. They go for their Clodsire on the catch, but because Shadow Caesar has so much damage to it, it's going to be a good catch, but it's not going to be enough for them to win this game. In fact, I'll catch on my own Corviknight, trying to catch an Earthquake if we can. Our opponent here, what did they throw? Is it going to be Earthquake? No, it's a Stone Edge, so maybe not the best catch of my life, but we still get a massive Sand Attack down, and that Whiscash has a huge uphill battle. They need a Scald and a Mud Bomb to win this game, but they're not going to get either one. We can outpace to a Payback, knock out this Pokemon. Corviknight able to close out this game, but honestly, Regidrago, the reason we won it, neutralizing that Corviknight in the lead. Next game, Regidrago up against a Shadow Hypno. Pretty cool Pokemon now that Confusion has an energy generation increase, but they don't stay in a very neutral lead. They actually swap out here into a Corviknight, and this Pokemon is going to once again be a bit tricky for our team here, but saying that I can swap out freely, I'm going to go for the chip damage, try to catch a move if I can on our own Corviknight, but at this point we can go for the no shield no matter what they throw. Payback is not going to two-shot us. Well, it will two-shot after a bit of Sand Attack damage, but because we got the chip damage against them first, this is actually a pretty good spot to be in. They do go for another Payback here. We can no shield, we can survive, and we can go for the Payback once again against them. They're going to go for that move. We do survive. I'm going to overfarm as much energy as we can here to try to reach an attack against that Hypno if possible. We're going to go for that Payback here. Our opponent might go for the shield if they want to flip switch, but no, they let it go down. They bring in that Hypno, and we can't quite reach for that Payback. We have to settle for an Air Cutter. One Sand Attack short of reaching that move. That's kind of sad. In comes Air Cutter, doesn't do a lot of damage. Good counting by them. Wow, okay, they no-shield that move. And now Shadow Caesar are going to try its best to farm all the way down on this Shadow Hypno. They go for an attack. Could be a Fire Punch, so we do shield it up. They do have Fire Punch here, so a good shield by us. Either way, even like an Ice Punch would have done real damage to Shadow Caesar. It's not a bulky Pokemon, so I think the shield there is always going to happen. Night Slash draws their first shield. They swap out after the fact into their Altarium. And at this point, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Shadow Caesar looks like it's pretty strong into both Pokemon that my opponent has here in the back. And Regidrago itself not looking too bad either. We're going to go for the Night Slash, but they go for a Sky Attack or maybe a Flamethrower before we're able to reach it. Sky Attack would knock us out from this range. They go for the lower energy move. Night Slash thrown right after this move will be able to knock them out if they let it go. If they do shield, I think we can actually just go for the swap out into our Regidrago, farm all the way down, and then Dragon Energy against that Hypno. Dragon Energy is going to be a little bit of overkill here, but it is our cheapest attack that we can have on this Pokemon, so have to throw it. Down goes the Hypno, and we're able to pick up the win. GG to our opponent. Next game is our Regidrago up against a Shadow Kanto Marowak, a very neutral matchup here. Let's see what they want to do. They actually don't stay in, though. They swap out into their Shadow Empoleon. We bring in our ground-type fast attack pressure Pokemon of Corviknight, but this matchup is a little bit more awkward than I'd like it to be. I know the two-shield scenario, you just win straight Air Cutter, but if I want to get a shield from them, I have to go for a payback at some point. Instead, I'm going to go for that Air Cutter here, trying to get a shield if we can. Our opponent, are they going to fall for the bait? They go for the no-shield, smart play by them, although we get the boost, so I guess at this point, despite the bad call on our part, we're not completely punished. We can go for that shield, overfarm some more energy here, and start spamming out more Air Cutters against them. If they want to, they can shield this attack up, but if they do, then I can farm all the way down, maybe pay back something with a boosted Corviknight. They go for the no-shield. They do end up losing Switch, but they have shield advantage. They bring back in the Marowak of all things. I have a payback potentially. I go for the Air Cutter bait. Is this going to pay off? Does our opponent shield? They do end up shielding. Good bait by us here. I'm going to build up to another payback. I'm going to try to go for an Air Cutter and go for another one after the fact if we can get the shield here. Either way, this Marowak's going to be chipped down quite a bit. They do shield it up. We don't quite reach another Air Cutter after the fact. Corviknight tried its best, but because we did get shields down, Regidrago is going to be able to pretty easily go for a Dragon Energy against them. And I'm hoping with the shield advantage that maybe Shadow Caesar in the backline is going to have a lot of play. They end up, though, bringing in, once again, a Corviknight, one of the most common players here so far in this video. A pretty neutral Pokemon into our team, but Dragon Energy, as we have seen throughout the entire video, is going to do quite a bit of damage to them there. We actually have a full-on Dragon Energy loaded, and I know this is just an Air Cutter. We survived. We can no-shield swap out, come in Shadow Caesar, and now with that Dragon Energy banked in the backline, all we need to do is knock out this Corviknight and throw the move on CMP against that Marowak later on. They go for an Air Cutter here. It could have been a payback. I didn't want to get one shot, but I'm going to go for the Night Slash now that we put them into Night Slash range. This should knock them out here, and because we are a Shadow Caesar, they're going to be forced to throw energy against us almost instantly, or else they would get knocked out by a Trailblaze. They do go for the Bone Club here. Do I reach an attack before I get farmed down? Just barely, I do not, but we have the Dragon Energy ready to go. This move is going to be more than enough to knock out the Shadow Kanto Marowak. Once again, Regidrago putting in so much work here in this game. GG to our opponent. Next game, let's see Regidrago up against the Shadow Machamp. Okay, you know, respect, I guess. That's going to be an interesting matchup here, depending on their moveset. They might have Cross Chop, which would be pretty spammy if they happen to have that attack here. I'm going to go for the No Shield. I know they could have, like, Stone Edge or Payback or, you know, Dynamic Punch, but it's just the Cross Chop here. We can survive that. Go for the Dragon Energy. This is where having a cheaper attack would be so nice, though, because we get so heavily outpaced. But since they go for the shield there, I'm going to swap into Shadow Caesar. Look at these bullet punches shredding through the HP of this Shadow Machamp. They're staying in here as well, so that means they must not have a great answer to us. They try to get another cross chop off, but they just barely cannot. Caesar farms down right when they reach the attack here. They come in Shadow Swampert into a loaded Shadow Caesar. You've got to be kidding me at this point. We're going to go for the Trailblaze. This will one-shot them if they let it go down. I guess they do. Okay, they have an Empoleon in the back line. This is looking like a Shadow Caesar sweep at this point. We can go for that Trailblaze. Our opponent might shield us up at this point, but even if they do, it's not going to do anything for them. They don't quite get one shot there, but we can shield this next move, and Shadow Caesar just sweeping through this team. That is insane. That is why Shadow Caesar, in my opinion, is still one of the best Pokemon in this current season. Next game, Regidrago up against a Shadow Kanto Marowak. Last time we saw this matchup, our opponent actually swapped out. Let's see if that happens again here. This time, no, our opponent is staying in for just a second, so I'm going to go for the catch on the Bone Club with our Corviknight. Maybe that's a good play, maybe it's not. Is Corviknight going to be a safe swap here, or will they have a hard counter to us? They do have a Shadow Fortress. I don't love to see that here, but I'm going to go for the attack here at the last second, right before they can reach a Rock Tomb. Air Cutter will be able to maybe draw a shield if they think that I'm going for the big attack. They do shield and move up here, and now they go for a Rock Tomb. This move likely will... Actually, I don't know if it knocks us out from this range. It's going to be kind of close. I hope it doesn't, but no, Rock Tomb from the Shadow Fortress is just enough damage here to knock us out, and they go for another move. Bit of a miscount by me. I kind of forgot the energy generation of Fortress on Volt Switch, so they're able to get that Rock Tomb off before I go for the Dragon Energy, which means this move is now debuffed, which also means that potentially our Shadow Caesar as well is going to take a charge attack here. Yeah, they end up going for the no-shield there. Imagine if I had 25% more damage against them, I would not be taking this move right now. Shadow Caesar might have a little bit more play, but we'll shield that attack, and we'll see what they bring in the backline. Our opponent is thinking here for just a second. They bring in the Marowak. Okay, hold on. Maybe if there's a Pokemon like Cradily in the backline, there could still be some play. I go for the Night Slash, but our attack has been lowered. There's a chance they survive this. They still shield the attack up here. I go for the next Night Slash. Let's see, does this knock out? I think they do still survive on about 1 HP, but we have a Dragon Energy in the backline that is not gonna matter because they have a Bastion. Dang it. Okay, well, that could have been a fun game, but unfortunately, a Bastion is gonna just destroy all of our hopes and dreams. I suppose GG's there to our opponent. Next game is a Shadow Dusclops lead, and this is honestly a little bit scary. They can spam out Ice Punches pretty quickly. I guess they don't want to. They actually swap into an Annihilate instantly here. So I'm going to go for the Dragon Energy Chip and Dip. If they no-shield, this is basically going to knock them out. And if they do shield this move up, then that's fine as well. They do actually go for the no-shield, nearly getting one shot on the Annihilate. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised they survived that move. They go for an Ice Punch as well. That's fine. I can go for the full farm down against them. They won't reach the second attack here against our Corviknight. And now we have a big energy lead. They bring in their Shadow Dusclops once again. And since I have payback potentially here, they're going to have to think about investing shields. In comes a Shadow Punch against us. This move is going to put us down into the red, but not quite into farm down range, not just yet. I'm going to go for the bait. Air Cutter going to do very little damage if they call it, and of course they do end up calling the move. But once again, not punished here. We actually get the boost on that Air Cutter, meaning now they're going to be forced to use a shield on one of these attacks at some point, right? No, again, they call that attack here. They come in with a Primeape, and this is where having access to Air Cutter once again is so helpful. We're already at another one. They have to shield this, and now Shadow Caesar is going to come in and try its very best to farm all the way through this Pokemon. But at this point, I do see a bit of a tricky spot that we could be in here. If I end up having to use both of my shields against this Pokemon, they actually banked a Shadow Punch in the back line. If they can Shadow Punch our Scizor, if they can then go for an Ice Punch against our Regidrago and farm down our Corviknight, there is a chance they just sweep us with that Dusclops in the back line. If they don't go for the CMP, maybe there's a chance, but it looks like they did go for the Shadow Punch instantly right now. So if we get one shot by an Ice Punch on our Regidrago, this game could be a little bit awkward. We got to boost very necessary stuff, saying I'm going to go down immediately after, wasting all my luck there. Don't love to see that. I'm going to go for the catch attempt here on our Corviknight, and this is going to guarantee us the win in this game. I think even without that catch, I actually would have survived that move there. It would have been close, but I looked it up after the fact. You actually take 51% of damage from an Ice Punch, so I think we would have survived. It would have been so close, though, but guaranteeing the win with that catch there is always the safer play. Next game is a Cradilly in the lead, a Pokemon you don't actually see too much, at least I haven't in this current meta here. And not only that, they're on Bullet Seed. Interesting moveset. I think that if you want to be using Cradilly, once again, Acid is probably still better, especially for the Togekiss that we see. In comes a Dragon Energy. I went for a CMP there, hoping that they were going to go instantly for that Rock Tomb. They do throw the Rock Tomb as quickly as they can, and because we're able to outpace them, I could go for another Dragon Energy, or I could get a cheeky farm down with our Bullet Punch damage. They bring in, that's not great, they bring in a Talonflame to answer our Shadow Seasworm. We're going to go for the Night Slash here. I'm hoping they no-shield, actually, because if they do, maybe I can still go for a Dragon Breath down against them, but this is awkward. They have an energy lead on this Talonflame. I guess I did need to bait it out for a Corviknight later on this game, but man, this is going to be such a tricky endgame right now. They go for a Fly. At least it's not a Flame Charge. They're not ramping up their damage, but in comes a Blastoise of all things. That's not really a counter to a Regidrago, and if they get greedy here, I might get to 2 Dragon Energies. Dragon Energy number 1 comes through. Dragon Energy number 2 gonna follow suit on CMP as well. This is where having access to such a spammy, hard-hitting move is so nice. We get both shields down, and because shields are now down, I think that we have a way to win this game with our Corviknight. All I need to do is be very careful with our energy management. I know we can survive 2 Hydro Cannons pretty comfortably here, but what I want to make sure that I do is I don't want to be in range where a single Incinerate knocks us out. They don't have a lot of energy left over on that Talonflame, but I want to make sure that I can go for a payback to knock this Pokemon out, as well as a payback against that Talonflame before 2 Incinerates register, and if that is the case, then we should be able to win this game. I'm going to overfarm up to 100 energy. We're about 5 or 6 more sand attacks away from our next payback here. Our opponent going to not be able to survive that payback, and will we be able to knock him out here? We should be able to. Payback is a very hard-hitting attack. Talonflame was completely dry on energy, which means we outpace. We go for the payback, down goes the Talonflame, and we come back from a bit of an awkward spot there in the middle matchup when we had our Scizor against that Talonflame. Next game, oh my goodness, that is such a bad lead for us. The worst thing about this is Corviknight in the backline is hard-walled by this, but what is going on right now? They must not have a counter to Shadow Scizor. Bad situation turning into one of the best possible situations to be in. They bring in a Cradilly here. I go for the Trailblaze. They shield up that attack. I think I just shield one's Bullet Punch all the way through them. This is going to look like a fun game. I thought this was just going to be the worst game this possibly could have been. But no, because they come in Cradilly here, of all things, I'm thinking I can save my Scizor if I need it, but they just come back in Carbink, of all things. What do they have in the backline? Is Shadow Scizor just going to sweep this entire team? It just might. They shield the Trailblaze. These Bullet Punches are shredding through Carbink right now. We reach yet another Trailblaze. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on right now. What do they have in the backline? It's a Whimsicott. Okay, full Shadow Scizor sweep. That is ridiculous. Don't run that, team trainers. That is not a good idea. Next game, though, is a Unova Stunfisk lead. And fun fact, chat, this might be the first time that using Hyper Beam might actually matter. This move is going to do so much damage here, and in the Zero Shield matchup, it's actually a little bit awkward with Dragon Energy. You need 2 Dragon Energies to knock out this Ufisk, but you only need 1 Hyper Beam. What this means here is I can overfarm to 100 energy, go for the Hyper Beam right before their next attack, and this move, while it's not going to one-shot them from here, it will put them into a perfect Dragon Breath down range, and will come out of this with likely almost a Dragon Energy of energy. We go for the Hyper Beam, they no-shield, we knock out the Ufisk, first Hyper Beam of the video, good stuff, and comes out Corviknight here. This Pokemon has been so common in today's video, but we have access to a Dragon Energy ourselves. We go for it, chip them down into a more comfortable range for our Corviknight later on, and they bring in an Annihilate. This is where having Air Cutter pacing is so incredible for Corviknight. Now, rather than getting outpaced, we actually just outpace basically everything in the meta. We get a boost on that first Air Cutter, which doesn't really matter all that much, saying at this point, the next one would knock him out either way. Rage Fist will ramp up their attack stat, but because we can just spam out so many charge attacks here, this Annihilate is in a very awkward spot. Another move coming through, this Air Cutter likely will draw a shield. I would assume they want to shield through us if they can. They do shield that attack up. I'm at yet another Air Cutter already, and because of that 45-second switch clock, I should be able to swap out now, go for a Bullet Punch down against them, and go for Night Slashes into that Corviknight later on. I think they might be forced to stay in for a second. They need to get some fast attack pressure against us. I'm not even in Air Cutter range just yet. Our opponent realizes that, but at this point, we're able to outpace, go for the Night Slash, and this move, while it won't knock him out, will put them very low on HP at this point. They do go for a CMP as well, and I'm almost certain that's not going to be a payback. We can survive an Air Cutter here, and maybe even get to another Night Slash. Our opponent is not going to get a boost either. In comes our next Night Slash. If possible, we're going to go for it. They do throw the Air Cutter right before, but I can shield this up, go for that Night Slash, guarantee the knockout here, and one Bullet Punch should be able to knock out against that Annihilate. Night Slash coming through right now. Our opponent, no shields to hide behind, will get knocked out. Annihilate will come back in just a second. We get the boost. Why not, I guess? Wasting all of our luck when it doesn't matter, but it's fine. We're still able to win the game. Oh my goodness, what a lead. Our full team just destroys Venusaur. And not only that, but they safe swap into a Shadow Kanto Marowak, a Pokemon that our Corviknight is more than happy to see. We can survive whatever they're going to throw here. I know for a fact that a Rock Slide does not one-shot us. We're a Steel type, as well as a Flying type, which counteracts a lot of the damage Marowak is going to throw. We go for an Air Cutter bait. Our opponent might shield this up if they want to, but either way, it's the more safe play to guarantee the win in this matchup. It's just straight Air Cutters here. We're going to go for another one after the fact. We got a boost. Air Cutter, such a fun move to spam out. Go for these Air Cutter boosts and see what they want to do. Don't do this, trainers. Please never come in Venusaur into Corviknight. That is... I don't know what they're doing right now. Air Cutter is boosted. How much damage is this going to do? I guess nothing because they shield, but I have another one ready to go right now. This is looking so bad for them. I kind of feel bad about this one. It feels like they were not prepared for Corviknight here today. And look at that. Air Cutter, a move that's not known for its damage, nearly one-shotting the Venusaur. I'm going to no-shield this move. Frenzy Plant might knock us out. It doesn't even knock us out. I swapped into my Shadow Scizor to try to farm him down if I could. They bring in their Azumarill. Honestly, I should have come in my Regidrago. I could have gone for the Hyper Beams here, potentially, but it doesn't matter. I think Shadow Scizor should be able to easily close out this game. Trailblaze comes through. They let it go. They realize there's almost nothing they can do at this point. I know that our Regidrago can Dragon Breath this down if we need to. I want to finish this off with Regidrago, but they don't even play rough. We call the bait, and now we win the game. Yeah, that was just such a bad matchup for them. Unfortunate, but sometimes I guess Corviknight can pop off. Speaking of Corviknight, once again, we see a Corviknight on the lead. I'm going to go for the Dragon Energy and see what they want to do. I love seeing this Pokemon here. Our Shadow Scizor, hopefully in the backline, is going to be a lot more usable once this thing goes down. They no-shield this Dragon Energy, and our opponent at this point building up even more of their own energy, going for likely a payback against us. I want to see what happens if I shield through this matchup, going for the shield on that payback here, because I'm hoping that this next Dragon Energy could potentially knock them out and make it so my Regidrago has a lot of HP coming out of this matchup. If this move doesn't knock out, though, which it just barely doesn't, then that means that we're not quite able to win that matchup going double Dragon Energy and shielding, so we catch the payback instead on our Corviknight. In comes an Empoleon, and this isn't the worst matchup in the world, and especially because they're the non-Shadow, I think we can actually survive the Hydro Cannon right now and get some shields down against them. They go for the Hydro Cannon here. We do survive. I'm going to go for likely Air Cutter baits right now because I want to make sure to get any sort of trip damage against them that I can. Air Cutter coming through. Our opponent will end up shielding that first attack up. I can't quite go for the payback. I try to reach it, but they get a huge farm down against us, and that puts us in such an awkward position, but I can outpace them to a Dragon Energy before they get to 2 Drill Pecks against us. This move will not knock them out, but man, that does some real damage here. Once again, the Steel types, while they do resist Dragon Energy, it is just such an efficient move, it doesn't really matter. They land that Drill Peck, not quite enough to knock us out, but Gastro on the back line, not what I wanted to see. Unfortunately, Shadow Scizor, not a lot of wiggle room in that game. Next game, going to see a Walrein on the lead. A very uncomfortable lead matchup here, but Shadow Scizor, as our safe swap, is going to come in. We're met by a Gastrodon, and I think I see a way to win this game, or at least a way to have, like, maybe a bit of fun here. I want to get shields down if I can. That's what I'm trying to say, because if shields go down, potentially later on, I could Hyper Beam that Walrein. they go for an attack against us. I think Body Slam, well, might not completely knock us out from there, or I guess, Water Pulse, whatever. I just want to guarantee that we get that next move off to make sure we get their second shield down. Maybe flip switch as well if they want to let it go, but honestly, I'd prefer at this point that they use their 2 shields, which they do end up doing. At this point, they're going to be on, Body Slam, Water Pulse? That's not going to be that bad for us. I can no-shield this attack. Body Slam going to do very little damage. I can shield the next move up potentially and go for a Hyper Beam against that Walrein, but they just swap instantly into their Walrein. So I'm going to shield this. I think our easiest way to deal with this Pokemon is shield this up and just go for the Hyper Beam. Second Hyper Beam of the video. This should easily knock out the Walrein here. Dragon Energy only does about 50%. Hyper Beam does about 65%. Down goes that Walrein, and in comes an Ariados. Corviknight loves to see it. Our opponent does not. They top left, and we're able to pick up the win. And with that, getting to rank 11 here on the day, getting closer to our ELO reveal, I guess over halfway through the ranks. I mean, it looks like over halfway, right? But it just gets harder and harder each rank up from here. But no matter what, I think Regidrago, very cool Pokemon. I'm honestly excited to see how it plays out in Ultra League as well. I feel like Ultra League Regidrago is going to be a menace. Didn't land too many Hyper Beams today, but I feel like having that potential coverage move against Azumarils or Dedennes, or just Fairy types in general, is pretty fun. And Dragon Energy being so spammy is a very big surprise to a lot of opponents here today. So it was a lot of fun to use. I recommend this team if you want to give Regidrago a go. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.